What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the Persian Wolf, Hadi Choopan. So we are now less than 100 days away from this year's Mr. Olympia, which is by the way gonna be the 60th anniversary of Mr. Olympia. And Hadi Choopan aims to create history by becoming the second only person in bodybuilding history to reclaim the Olympia title after losing it the previous year. So the battle between top two in 2023, that was one of the closest battles we saw in a long time. And the reactions that we saw afterwards, and not just from Hadi Choopan's fans, from almost all the bodybuilding fans, they were just nuts. And it isn't like Iranian fans have always acted this way. Let me take you guys the memory lane. So Hadi was placed third at his Olympia debut back in 2019, a decision which was highly controversial. Now you can make a case for Brandon Carey winning that one, because he was the bigger, wider and more aesthetic guy. But how did William Bonac beat Hadi Choopan that year? That was really questionable. So we did not see the fans reacting furiously over that decision. And the same can be said about Miss Olympia 2022, where Hadi Choopan once again placed third, behind Brandon Carey and Big Ramy, definitely the most ripped guy on that stage. And after the prejudging, there was a huge uproar that Hadi Choopan should have been there in that final call-out. But after the Olympia, there was no outrageous reaction. Even a guy like Milos Sarcev says that Hadi Choopan should have won both these Olympias. So all that proves that it was the year 2023 that was the most heartbreaking for Hadi Choopan and his fans as well. And he made such a big statement at this year's Arnold Classic, especially in Columbus, by not just winning, but dominating that competition and against a guy like Samson Dauda. And even people who are not in Hadi Choopan's camp, they believe that he is gonna be the biggest competition for Derek Lunsford this year. So Hadi Choopan has everything. Yes, he started as a 212 bodybuilder. But if he can stand next to the likes of Samson Dauda, who is the biggest guy right now in the men's open, and make it look like there isn't overall that much of a mass difference, and not just that, even appear bigger than Samson Dauda in some shots, that just means one thing. His muscle maturity and density, that is just on a different level, and no one can touch him in that department. So Hadi isn't gonna win the symmetry round against Derek, that is for sure. Because Derek is altogether a different animal when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to shape. And if he is able to hold on to all that mass that he has put on, especially on his legs, all the way till showtime, I mean, who is gonna be able to touch that X-frame? No one. Derek weighed the heaviest and stayed extremely lean throughout this offseason. I mean, the man was like in 6 weeks out conditioning at this year's Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. So Derek has put on a lot of work in 2024. He chose not to compete at this year's Arnold, because he knew he needed to make some significant improvements. And people like Jake Cutler, who have a real eye for bodybuilding, I mean the guy's 4 times Mr. Olympia, and he saw him in person at the Pittsburgh. He claimed that Derek has improved in every aspect, and he was the most impressive guy on that stage. So you have got to give the reigning champion all the respect. He's gonna be the man to beat in 2024. So with another year of solid work, his side shots are supposed to improve even more. And let's just not forget, and he was able to beat Hadi Choopan in those shots, based on the improvements he was able to make in the side of his legs. And those were the shots which Derek was able to flip last year. So I believe this is gonna be a crazy Miss Olympia. Regan Grimes is deep in his offseason right now, and he looks absolutely massive. And yes, we were all massively disappointed with his decision of not competing this year at all. Because otherwise Regan would have been ready this weekend. Because originally that was his plan, to compete at Van Pro this year. And then maybe go for Dubai Pro from here onwards. Until he dropped out of the competitive season for 2024. Now with the goals that Regan Grimes has, as a future top Olympian, I think we can all agree that was a good move. He wants to hear his name in that first Olympia call-out, meaning that he wants to crack top 6. And Regan was at his career's best last year. So 2 of the biggest names in the men's open bodybuilding, Nick Walker and Big Ramy, they were absent last year, and still he placed 9th. So if both these guys were there, he would have been 11th. And let's just not forget, Rafael Brandao wasn't there as well. So if Regan wants to solidify himself as a threat in that top 6, he needs more work everywhere. He needs more mass, he needs more quads, he needs more chest, and he needs more arms as well. And maybe a few months' time of off-season. That wasn't enough for him to do that. So just compare Regan to a guy like Hunter Labrada. So Regan has better lines, he has better flow, he has better aesthetics, there is no doubt. But a guy like Hunter has so much thickness and so much density that it won't even be close between these 2 guys. So a good thing about Regan is that he's just 31 years old. so he has got plenty of time on his hand to put on some solid size and be a force in the future. But the most important thing is that Regan has to have the same mentality as Jay Cutler had when he was up and coming. I mean, no one could have ever imagined that a guy who placed 14th at the Olympia in 1999, he would be giving Ronnie Coleman a run for his money in 2001. And keep in mind, that was a controversial decision. But that is what actually happened. And Jay went on to become a legend of the sport. Next up, we have a physique update from Patrick Johnson. I know many of you guys must have forgotten about this guy, simply because he hasn't competed since the Olympia 2022. So Patrick was diagnosed with a benign tumor of bone on his left pelvis. That was during his prep for the Olympia. But still somehow he managed to push through, even with excruciating pain. He was able to qualify for the Olympia. And not just that, he was able to place 13th in what we can call was one of the most deepest lines we saw in the men's open in the last 2 decades or so. I mean, we had 28 guys that year in the men's open bodybuilding. And this could very well go down as the biggest lineup we ever saw in the men's open bodybuilding. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that one in the comments below. So Patrick was able to place very well in that show, beating multiple former top 10 Olympians. But sadly, that was his last contest. Now he has taken care of that tumor, and now Patrick is slowly building his physique back up from the ground. So there hasn't been any show announcement by him in 2024 up until now. So his coach Abdullah said that he is one of the most disciplined bodybuilders he came across during his coaching career. So we hope to see Patrick back on the stage whenever he's ready, and most importantly, when his health 100% allows it. Lastly, an update from Theo Ito, the winner of Japan Pro, which happened last year in the post-Olympia tour, which by the way was one of the earliest shows to qualify for 2024 Miss Olympia, and that was the last show in 2023. So that was the smartest move by Theo to compete there, and to this day I am so surprised why guys like Michael Criso and Ruben Mosquera did not compete, because both these guys just competed a week before that show, that was at Prague, and they chose to skip this one. So Theo hasn't been posting any physique updates this year lately, but winning a show at such an early stage of the season, that allowed him to get bigger and put on some solid mass in this offseason. Now Theo isn't one of the most gifted athletes out there, don't get me wrong, anyone who steps on the Olympia stage they are already gifted, but I am talking in relative terms. He doesn't have the best aesthetics out there, he isn't what we call a mass monster either, but he surely knows how to come in absolutely peeled out of his mind. He's always really dry and in a top-notch conditioning. And the fact is he flows really well. He has a nice X-frame. He's very proportionate top to bottom. So he was able to beat Alpha Chiriak and Xiaoming Yan as well, plus Roman Fritz too. And all these guys are known for their hard grenade-like conditioning. So this won't be Theo's first time stepping on Miss Olympia stage. He was qualified for the Olympia last year as well. And he also qualified for this year. But this year it has been an ideal scenario for him, getting to utilize one whole year just to focus on one show, getting bigger, putting the work in all the right areas. So let's see how well he does this time. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.